way to spend time outdoors. I've spent a lot of time outside, but today I'm going to tell you about an overnight canoeing trip I took in the Minnesota Boundary Waters and what you need to know before you go on one yourself. In the summer of 2023, my dad, my brother, and I went on a guided canoeing trip in the Boundary Waters. Before going on a trip to the Boundary Waters, you need to know about the amount of canoeing you're going to be doing, why the food has to be special, and different camp setups. When planning a trip to the Minnesota Boundary Waters, you should be aware of the amount of canoeing you'll be doing per day. According to the Elite Outfitting Company and Boundary Waters Guide Service, people generally spend a travel day and go 6 to 7 miles per day. But a long travel day would be around 10 miles. When we were on our trip, our shortest day was 7.70 miles and our longest day was 8.36 miles. And here you can see the map of everywhere we went. And those traveling only include canoeing, not portaging, which is when you have to get out of the canoe, hike with your canoe, your pack, and everything. So here you can see a picture of me carrying the canoe. The difficulty of paddling also varies on the time of day. So according to the Adventure Collective, the sweet spot would be late June to August, and early spring and autumn are when the currents are the strongest, but midsummer is normally calmer with occasional rocky spots when there's droughts. And before dawn or late afternoon is the best time of day, but obviously the weather can change any instant, so you should be prepared no matter what. And after a long day of canoeing and portaging, you're definitely going to be hungry, so there's some specifics about the food that you should get. Before you go on a trip to the Boundary Waters, it's important to that food is a little special. All of your snacks and meals have to be planned in advance. The Elite Outfitting Company provides a menu for the guided trips to choose from. So that includes things like oatmeal, summer sausage and cheese and crackers, dried fruit, chili, and s'mores. And then you can also catch fish and eat it. So my brother caught fish and we cooked it and ate it that night. And all your food also must be carried and packed in a specific way. According to the Friends of the Boundary Waters, your food has to be non-perishable, so dried, dehydrated, things like that. And if you bring something cold, it has to be packed in a specific pack to keep it cold. But it doesn't necessarily last very long, especially if it's very hot outside. And the United States Department of Agriculture suggests that you hang your food at night when you're done with it so that critters can't get to it, so usually 6 feet away from the trunk of a tree and 12 feet up in the air. And another important thing to know before going on a canoeing trip is that campsites can be a struggle. In preparation for a trip to the Boundary Waters, you should understand that there's a lot of different camp setups. You have to pick your campsite on the day of. You can't plan it in advance. The North Country Canoe Outfitters advise you to look for your campsite by mid-afternoon because they're first come, first serve, and they're hard to find at night when it gets dark. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, every campsite comes with a fire grate and a latrine, so you can see the latrine is basically a hole in the ground. But for your own shelter, you have to bring your own. So there's a few options. My dad slept in a hammock, and the rest of us had our own tents. So now you know what an overnight camping trip in the Minnesota Boundary Waters can look like and how to start planning for one of your own. You've learned about the amount of canoeing, why the food has to be special, and some of the different ways to set up camp. And so now that you've learned about one of my favorite ways that I've spent time outdoors, hopefully it'll inspire you to find some fun ways to spend time outdoors yourself.
That was good.